And we're live. Good morning. And to some of you, it's good afternoon. And to others, it's even good evening or good night. Streaming early this morning. I beat the sun up, but that's nothing new. That's every day. So right now it's about 5:56 Central Standard Time, a.m. on Friday, April the 20th. Happy 420 to all of those who are out there celebrating the newly found holiday. But yeah, this is, I just want to I want to talk about something. Bloodline. I've been saying I was going to talk about that. I don't know if anyone's up this early, but this is what time I usually rise and shine, man. I've always been like this. Any time of the day or night, I'm always up, that's what I do. But I want to talk about Bloodline. One of the quickest ways to accumulate wealth, it takes two, at least two. Two to manage, because for two are better than one is what's said. So, two incomes. A lot of times, like, people living together is sort of a business arrangement. And when you think about the past, and even today's times, in a lot of countries overseas, not the West. The West is the ones who've gotten out of this, except the Western elite. But everyone else in the West is pretty much, they don't view marriage or bloodline as anything spectacular. And this is the error. They believe that it's just about the two people. You meet someone in a coffee bar or something like that, and it's love at first sight, and you go get married. It's never been like that in the history of mankind. Most of all of the African countries, most of the Middle East, even in the Asian countries, the marriages are prearranged. Sometimes it's from a young age. Before the child is 8 years old, someone has already picked out for them. This is who you're going to marry, and so on and so forth. And that's for a number of different reasons. One is, marriage is not just between the two people, as they say in the West, as they do or practice in the West. It's not just between, me and you, love at first sight, let's go. No, because you're marrying two families together. You're marrying two backgrounds together. You see what I'm saying? And then if you have produced children or offspring from that marriage, you have something to come forth out of that. So you have to look at both sides, right? Now, the elite, this is why they remain the elite. They get an edge, they get an advantage, because they don't just let their kids marry anybody. They don't care how that person looks, Oh, he looked like this, or she looked like this, or built like this, or got a body like this, or, okay, and what? What about your parents and your parents' parents? And what do y'all have collectively? And what kind of, are y'all crazy? Do y'all have y'all snap and kill each other? Is that a common practice in y'all family? What gods do y'all serve? God or gods do y'all serve? Or do you even believe in that? Where's your education? What science do you believe in? What kind of defects, birth defects do y'all have? What kind of material wealth do y'all have? What countries are y'all linked to? What kind of positions, will this help my unborn grandchild get ahead in life, or, help them achieve? Or do y'all have a mental capacity, or your IQ's up here, or y'all all half retarded or something? I mean, I know that sounds harsh, but it's true. And it's something in the West that's not paid any attention to. You just meet somebody, depending on how they look and how they impress you, that first date or that first time you see them and talk to them, you want to get married. You don't care nothing about nothing else. Their background, you don't care if they drink blood, or if they done did deals with the devil, or if they parents or grandparents, or, what kind of cults or clubs that they're in. You don't care about that. And that's why you're at the bottom. See, a lot of people in the West treat their animals, their dogs, with more dignity and more respect than their own selves and their own family. Because if you have a pedigree dog, you don't let your dog just breed with any old dog, a mutt, just to get some puppies. No, just because the dog looks good. No, you want to look at the paperwork. You want to see the bloodline. You want to be like, okay, your dad is this, your mama is this, you come from here, they had, they won this. You want to know what that's about. That whole thing, you want to go back as far as you can to make sure, because it's an investment for the future. You know what I'm saying? But most people today, they don't look at it like that. They just look at, shoot, this is a friend, a companionship. We got companionship, and I like how he or she looks and how they dress and how they smell. So we're going to make a lifelong pact, because that's what a marriage is. That's what it's supposed to be. So we're going to make a lifelong relationship. That's foolishness. That's foolishness. Think of the bloodline, not a mutt line. You see what I'm saying? There are things, there's a scripture that says, the sins of the fathers are visited upon the sons to the third and fourth generation. There are things that some people in your family could have gotten into years ago that's still attached to them, and that's going to be attached to their kids and their kids for so many generations until that thing is broken. So what they call a generational curse. And they do exist. They do exist. So you're not looking at the whole picture. You're just looking at, oh, he or she looks good. Oh, he or she drives a Benz, Oh, he or she went to college. Oh, okay. That's not it. That does not determine your bloodline or what. You don't want to get with something, you could have just a beautiful woman. Ooh, she did everything, you haven't even heard her speak yet. You just see her walk by and you, love at first sight, and you go want to talk to her and want to have kids by her. And then you come to find out her IQ is like a 10. And that's your kids. That's your future. That's your lineage. That's what you leave behind. You may have a IQ 165, and because your flesh, you couldn't control it, the lust of your eyes, it doesn't matter. And yeah, it matters, because now your kid, you done set your whole family back hundreds of years. Who knows how long it took to breed and to learn and to be educated to get the IQ and the knowledge that you have, but you take it back because you just like how somebody looks. It's foolishness here in the West. Arranged marriages, we shouldn't have ever gotten away from that. And the elite still does that. I was just, about the 13 families, Fritz Springmeier, the Illuminati bloodlines. There are a lot of families. I mean, you would notice that almost all ALL U.S. presidents that have ever been U.S. presidents are all related. Why do you think that is? Why can't they just pick somebody who, say, oh, there's no discrimination. This person over here is smart, and they have a college degree, and they are initiated into Freemasonry or whatever thing they need you to join, frat or sorority. Why can't they be president? Because they don't have the right bloodline. It's very important. Más importante. Even there are promises to certain people in the Bible, some promises to good and some promises to evil. When people died in the past, before they died, they would talk to their kids and grandkids, their offspring, and bless or curse them. Tell them about themselves and where their spirit is telling them, you could speak things. Words have a lot of power. We know about the rice experiment. If you haven't heard about the rice experiment, look it up. I mean, it's common sense, but a lot of people don't believe in the afterlife or the spirit world, or if you can't see it, they don't believe it. And those people are, be honest with you, people would call me arrogant or rude or condescending, but someone who doesn't know the basics, why would we even have this conversation? I wouldn't have it with anyone who can't understand. You don't have the capacity to even think at that level. Go back to the elementary level and learn about the unseen. Once you learn about that, then come talk to me. Some people don't believe in spirit and soul. You know, you didn't believe in the atom. You probably still don't. I mean, yeah, it's just elementary to me. So I'm not going to waste my time. I don't care what people say their IQ is. If they don't know about the basics, I'm not going to argue with you. That's not what I do. You know, go and argue with somebody else, and then once you have a basic understanding of things, then we could talk about it. We could talk about the origins of a lot of things. But back to what I was talking about, bloodline. This is important because even the leaders of this world, Xi Jinping, where did he come from? You think he just popped up? No, he's related. Who knows who he's related to back in the day? You know, I guarantee you somebody else in his family was a quote-unquote great ruler or something like that. They didn't just put him in place and he's just going to rule forever. You know, China has done away with their term limits now for the president. So this guy's going to rule until he dies or until somebody assassinates him or something, until he steps down. You know, I don't know how old he is. He could be in his late 40s, early 50s. Yeah, he doesn't look too old. But where did he come from? Putin, right? Where did he come from? Think about his bloodline. He didn't just come out of a vacuum and all of a sudden this guy's decorated, you know, KGB and then president so many times, so many years, and who knows, he may rule forever too. No. Donald Trump, where did he come from? Huh? Yeah, these bloodlines, man, these people are related, man. These people are kin. And it's been like that since the Stuarts and the Tudors. And a lot more, it's a lot more than what you think, than what you really know. Like I said, almost all American presidents are related to each other. Yeah, and Obama included. Yeah, a lot of people think, oh, the first black president. Yeah, but all his cousins was the ones that was before and after him. You see what I'm saying? Bloodline. These people just don't pop up out of anywhere. And I heard something the other day, and I did a little research because Barbara Bush recently died. Where does she come from? Now, there's information out. It says she's the daughter of Aleister Crowley, or Crowley, depending on how, depending on whether you're east or west of the pond, they pronounce it differently. But Aleister Crowley, who is he, you ask? Shoot, man, 777, the Satanic Bible. Do as thou wilt. The one that the Beatles, basically worshipped, and Michael Jackson and Jay-Z and a whole bunch of other ones. Shoot, man, this guy, the spiritual guide for the New World Order, for the Illuminati. Yeah, witchcraft and all this type of stuff, spells. But this guy, he called himself the Beast, 666. Yeah, he wanted to be the Antichrist. Yeah. And he said he's supposed to be the mother of George W. Bush, the wife of George H.W. Bush. I'm talking about Barbara, the mother of George W. Bush, the wife of George H.W. Bush, and and the daughter of Aleister Crowley. So the rulers of our country, look what, they don't necessarily worship the same things we worship, the same God or gods that we worship. See, these marriages are planned out. Who was Senator Prescott Bush? Who was Herbert Walker? How do we merge the two together? Who financed World War II? Who financed Adolf Hitler? See, when you start looking this stuff up, you have people on both sides, the same family, and it's for the money. Yeah. Who was Rockefeller? How's Rockefeller connected to the Rothschilds? It's bloodline. And see, somebody like that, they just don't let their kid marry somebody no, it don't matter. And just because somebody, they're not going to let their kid marry a Kardashian just because they got money. No. It's the bloodline. It's the bloodline, not a mutt line. You know what I mean? No, you got to be purebred, whatever they're looking for. Whatever they're looking for. A lot of the quote-unquote royalty in the West, in Europe, have intentionally mixed their bloodline with people like the pharaohs of Egypt. That's documented. With even Muhammad, of Islamic fame. Mixed their blood up with the Hebrew Israelites, the real Jews, And a lot of them come from Vlad the Impaler. Count Dracula is based on a real person, Vlad the Impaler, and he did drink blood. These are who these people descend from. And they got all the money, but they keep it in the family. They're not letting it escape. They're not letting it get out. But here these days, they teach us that marriage is really not important. That's why you can't collect nothing. That's why you can't accumulate nothing. It's called money velocity. It has to turn around internally first to build up. You just come in and blow with the wind. Come in and go out. No power. You're just meeting mutts and having kids by mutts. Why would you put your seed through that? You see what I'm saying? You don't know nothing about this person. You don't know what baggage or strings comes attached to him or her. But you like how they look, how they smell, how they dress, how they talk. Because they come from a different city or state and they have a different accent. You just love them to death. And love at first sight is marriage time. See that their type of thinking? It's going to cost you in the long run. It's going to cost you for generations to come. It's going to cost your kids. Because what you tying them up into. Before they're even born, you already got them tied up in some mess. You see. But we'll talk more on this later. I got a lot of other subjects to talk about. And don't forget, before I forget, they say Angela Merkel is the daughter of Adolf Hitler. Who is Angela Merkel? The Chancellor of Germany. See, where did Theresa May come from? See, bloodline is important. It didn't start with you. You see what I'm saying? It started with your parents and their parents and their parents, all the way to the beginning of time. You see, how old is the blood in your body? No, if you're 30, your blood is not 30 years old. That blood was given to you by your mom and your dad, which was given to them by their mom and their dad. Yeah, your blood go back to the beginning. But the characters, the spirits that blood picks up along the way is flowing in your veins. So that's why when you go to the doctor, they want to know your family medical's history. Does cancer run in your family? Does diabetes? Does hypertension? Schizophrenia? Does any of this run in the family? Why do they care about that? Because it may have you might have something that somebody else had. You may have picked that up. That's bloodline. You see what I'm saying? In the genetics, in the genetic code. We could talk about consciousness, because the Russians probably discovered it first, but consciousness does not reside in the brain, in the mind. The Bible speaks about things from the heart. And I recently learned this, that when our patients have heart transplants, sometimes the personalities, their personalities change according to who they got the heart from. They even have sometimes memories that this other person should have because they have their heart now. So it's a lot that we don't know. It's a lot that the doctors don't know. They just claim that they know it. Science changes every year, every month. First they tell you, cholesterol's bad for you. Now it's good for you. First salt was good for you, then it's bad for you. Then it's good for you again. Science, everything changes. But the things that shouldn't change or doesn't change is the origins, the bloodline, like-mindedness. And that's why in Scripture, you're told not to commingle with people who don't have your beliefs, your core beliefs, who serve other gods. You see what I'm saying? Because that's messing up your bloodline. And there's a spiritual bloodline as long also with the physical bloodline. But this is just a pre-cap, not a recap, but a pre-cap. You know, it was on my mind. And a lot of deep things I want to get into. And all this has to do with everything we're looking at now. Because we're going to have to become financially and politically astute. A lot of this stuff is not happening in a vacuum. It's not organic. This stuff has been planned out for hundreds of years. And that requires bloodline to get a plan for hundreds of years and to carry it out. The 3 World Wars? Come on, man. Albert Pike exposed that. This guy was born in the 1800s. How did he know? World War I hadn't even happened yet. You see? You see? He talked about the First World War, what it would do, the Second World War, and the Third, which hasn't happened yet. How did he know? He was born in the 1800s. But I'm going to leave you with that. Just food for thought. And again, happy holiday 420 for all those who celebrate it. Make sure you get plenty CBDs and plenty of water. And just think about what I said. We have to start living our lives differently because we're all under mind control. All right. Well, have a good day. Beyond Babbitt, over and out.